Once a roast has been removed from the oven, it is crucial to let it rest. This is for several reasons. First, the heat will have time to evenly distribute throughout the meat. Since the roast is much hotter on the surface than in the center, the resting period will even out the temperature between the two, allowing for any carryover cooking to take place. This is why it is important to remove the meat from the oven before it has reached the final internal temperature. To properly rest a roast, remove it from the roasting pan and place it onto a tray lined with a rack. This will ensure that air can evenly circulate. Sitting a hot roast directly on a flat surface will prevent any steam underneath from escaping. This will cause condensation, which will expand the pores and cause more juices to escape. Because the outside of the roast is still very hot, it is best to let it sit uncovered for about 5 to 10 minutes before tenting. If you were to immediately tent the roast, you would essentially be creating an oven-like environment, which would continue to cook the roast. Once the roast has cooled slightly, loosely tent it with foil, making sure to vent the foil to allow some steam to escape. Meat, especially a large cut, that has been cooked in a moderate 350-degree oven may increase up to 20 degrees during the resting period. For example, this 7-pound roast was seared at 450 degrees for about 35 minutes. It was then finished roasting at 350 degrees for 1 hour to reach the internal temperature of 125. During the 45-minute resting period, the temperature increased to 141 degrees Fahrenheit, a difference of 16 degrees. One of the advantages of finishing the roasting process at 250 degrees Fahrenheit is that the temperature increase during the resting period is less substantial, making the targeted doneness easier to achieve. For example, this 7-pound roast was also seared at 450 degrees for about 35 minutes. However, it was then finished roasting at 250 degrees for 2 hours to reach the internal temperature of 130. During the 45-minute resting period, the temperature increased to 141 degrees Fahrenheit, a difference of only 11 degrees. With practice, you will know how far in advance to take the roast out to achieve the desired doneness. Resting also allows the muscle fibers to relax so the juices can be evenly redistributed throughout the meat. This is especially important if you have slightly overcooked the meat, as the redistributed juices will make the roast less dry, especially the outer edges. Also, if you have accidentally stopped the roasting process too early, the meat will be less raw once it is fully rested. If a roast is not allowed to rest, it will be tougher and drier once sliced. You can see just how much juice escapes and how the juices pool on the cutting board. By letting roasts rest, the majority of these juices remain within the meat. It is also important to turn the roast once or twice during resting. This helps to redirect the flow of juices and heat throughout the meat. Depending on the size of the roast, the resting period can take anywhere from 15 minutes up to an hour. It is surprising how long the roast will keep warm. This resting period also provides you with time to prepare a sauce or jus or any other dishes to accompany the roast.